Hey, morning. Another phenomenal day here in Johannesburg. Out on the plots where the rednecks live. So I try to formulate my thoughts as best I could to make it to this message this morning. But let me start with the latest in Iran and how it could potentially affect South Africa and particularly the leadership here. So the latest news is that, and I got this from Tulsi TV, who's a podcaster, but he's pretty accurate. I've been watching him for quite a while. He's pretty accurate and, seems to know what's going on, behind the scenes, and he's on top of the news there. And what he has said, and if this is true, then this is what I see coming. So the reality is that for all intents and purposes, the Iranian regime has collapsed. There are certain pockets still within the RGC that are still firing missiles at Israel, but are being intercepted now because they're managing 10 or 20 a day. But the big news is that there are thousands and thousands of defectors defecting from the Iranian regime and defecting from the Iranian military. And they've been trying to get in touch with all kinds of people. And Israel has sent a blanket message out to these people that if they want to defect, they have to get in contact with the Mossad for debriefing. Now, this is a big problem for people in this country, because you have to ask the question, when these people start getting debriefed, how high on the list of questions is going to be, what is South Africa's involvement with these nuclear programs? What is the real story with the case that was brought against us at the International Court of Justice? Who are the people that were directly involved with this? How much money was given to these people in their personal and private capacity? Where is that money? What is the end game? What was the plan? Blah, blah, blah. All the information that they're going to require. And these people, in order to escape what is potentially going to end up in their lifetime imprisonment in an Israeli prison, are going to sing like birds. And there's a lot of names that are going to come up, and we won't hear about those names directly. But I wonder how high the order of questioning is in terms of that. And I wonder what kind of effect it's going to have on the relationship and the potential prosecution of people who the case will be made, brought a false case to the international court. Not based on the facts, but based on the motives behind it. And I think that could turn out to be quite an embarrassment and severe problem for the ruling party, amongst others, as well as their what's the latest word they like using around the world? Well, the players that pretend to be other political parties, but we know are also part of the ruling party. Just under a different color and a different name. And speaking of this, yesterday I said that the world is taking a stand against radicalism worldwide. The civilized world is taking a stand against radicalism. And lo and behold, last night, breaking news. Old Ronaldo Gous was the first one to break the news after I think he saw it on News 24 and he did a quick show. The famous Julius has, for all intents and purposes, been banned from entry into the UK until further notice, based on his violent, hateful rhetoric, his support of Hamas, and so on and so forth. So, that's just based on what people have seen on TV. Now, imagine what's going to happen when they start debriefing all these Iranian defectors, who include some high-level government officials, high-level military officials, high-level members of that regime. I wonder what's going to happen, in terms of who else is going to be banned from entering westernized countries and who else's accounts are going to be looked at, because that's the next thing that's coming, is the freezing of international assets, the freezing of his international assets and the freezing of his international banking. All his SWIFT codes, everything will be cancelled. And I can promise you, if England has already banned him, and I've seen overtures from Denmark and Belgium and other countries in Europe that are already talking about something must be done about this guy, is very soon he's going to be banned from entry into the whole of Europe, and potentially Eastern Europe. And, where's he going to have left to go? And then another insightful thing that, I believe I get, a lot of the stuff just from common sense. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a political analyst, but you can read into these situations. So now, everybody in South Africa that's supporting this Red Party, said, we can chase everyone away because we've got BRICS. BRICS will come and save us, and the Chinese are going to this, and the da-da-da-da-da. The tune. China is officially abstaining from the war in Iran. And China and Iran are the two pillars with India of BRICS. And China is abstaining. They're not interested. India is abstaining. They're not interested. Brazil is abstaining. They're not interested. The only one stretching their big mouth is South Africa, the country with the smallest army, the tiniest economy, and it is in rapid decline due to mismanagement from the ruling party. Imagine this. So, for me, this is exceptionally positive, what's going on in terms of our own situation here in South Africa, because it's not going to be long whereby the ANC, the EFF, MK, all these radical, in my view, madmen, are going to become international pariahs. The rand is going to go to a place we've never seen it before. Their money is going to be worth nothing. There's going to be no trade. And so people are going to have to start considering putting people in power that are going to bring money back to this country, bring trade back to this country, and bring industrialization back to this country in order that we can create lives for our people. And at the same time, don't be surprised if those that were quick to rush and take Israel to the international court find themselves with international warrants of arrest against them in their personal capacity. And don't be surprised if teams come here from Interpol and around the world, because we're signatories to those agreements, so they can come here and start arresting people and taking them to Europe, to The Hague for trial. I'm talking about over a couple of year process, but don't be surprised when this stuff starts happening. Because, if you look at what happened now at the G7, where the president of this country literally just got a cold shoulder and, is now trying to cozy up to Canada. Canada's got their own problems with Donald Trump. You've got to look at the big picture. Do we want to rather do business with the United States? Do we rather want to do business with China in terms of the international community? Or does China rather want to do business with the United States or with South Africa? Does China rather want to do business with North America than with South Africa? Does China rather want to do business with Europe than with South Africa? It's all about money at the end of the day. And that's why, we've got nothing to offer when you look at the global scale of the world economy. And so we've been relying on these people, hanging our little bit of gold and cobalt and uranium and whatever we have in front of them. But, they can source that elsewhere. And then when taken into consideration with the size of global trade, South Africa is a pipsqueak. They're not going to support us in favor of a giant economy like North America and Europe. Forget about it. So they need to start making the changes they need to make, because I foresee a very difficult time for politicians in this country going forward. Thank you. Have a lekker day. Cheers.